Hey everyone, and welcome back to the 715. I'm your host, Riya Shankar, and today it's going to be another episode of the conspiracy theories and true crime segment of the podcast. But what I'm going to talk about today, it's more of true crime and less of conspiracy theories because I feel like it's just straight up facts related to this case. And I think it wouldn't be fair if I did not speak about this because this was the biggest trial of the century. And it is the O.J. Simpson case. So that is what we are going to be talking about today. So let's start. So a little introduction. Um, O.J. Simpson, Orenthal James Simpson. Some of the people actually believe that he's the greatest American athlete of all time. But he's definitely one of the best college footballers in history. American football, that is. I don't even know why they call it, but it confuses me. Anyways, he was best known as the Juice by his close friends and stuff. He was a hero. He was African American, but he wasn't just a hero to African Americans, but to all athletes. He was seen as like a father figure, if that makes sense. So it was all going good for OJ. He was doing well in his sports career. He married someone, he had 3 kids, and even started acting in Hollywood movies. Like that was like the peak of his stardom. And then at a bar, he saw this 18-year-old pretty waitress. Mind you, this was while he was married. He saw her and he was just like, I'm gonna marry her. And he did. And he divorced his first wife. So this girl that he just married, this 18-year-old pretty waitress, her name was Nicole Simpson. And that is, I guess that's the worst decision that she made, marrying him. But as I mentioned earlier, this is one of the most controversial cases, and it was known all over the world at that time when this happened. So let's get into it. Again, like I said, there's less of conspiracy theories, it's just more of true crime, but this is something that needs to be spoken about. So Nicole and her friend Ron Goldman, both of them were found dead at her house, and it was a very gruesome murder. She was hit on the head and stabbed multiple times. She was almost decapitated, and it was just a horrific sight. And Goldman was stabbed too, and both of them were found dead. And whoever killed both of them, so much anger. It was like literally a hate crime. So then the officer that saw Nicole's and Ron Goldman's body feared that something might have happened to OJ as well because, well, that's his wife. Well, it was actually his ex-wife. They ended up getting divorced too. Not shocking, but anyways, the officer went to OJ's house thinking something might have happened to him as well, and he might he might have been a victim too. And at the crime scene, the officers they found a bloody glove. And then when they went to OJ's house to warn him or to check if he's okay, they found another glove and it was like the other glove. Like they made a pair, both those gloves. Not just that, there was blood on OJ's car, and the blood they matched, like on the glove and on the car. That gave the officers full reason to arrest OJ Simpson. And OJ was denying the whole thing. He was playing so dumb. Like if you guys watch the Netflix documentary, you would hate this guy. You'd be thinking, "Oh my God, like how is he denying something?" And never in a case has there been so much evidence in front of the jury, but they still was like, nah, he didn't do it. OJ's fans really seem to deny the fact because, come on, he is the OJ Simpson. He possibly can't kill someone. And then OJ's hero came to the rescue, John Cochrane. He was OJ's lawyer, and he was one of the top lawyers at that time. And what John Cochrane did was he revolved this case around possible racial discrimination that the LAPD might have shown towards O.J. Simpson just because he's black rather than the murder instead, when that wasn't the case because all signs were showed towards OJ being the murderer. And the sad part was many of the jury were African American too. So what John Cochrane was doing, he was appealing to the jury's emotion, which is smart. Most of the jury were African American, so they could totally relate to what he was saying, and they probably believed that, oh, right, the LAPD is probably racist. And he was still adored. Like in jail, when he was, as his trial was going on, uh, policemen would come and like take pictures of him. See, that's also another thing that probably let him go scot free, because everyone still treated him as a hero while he was in trial for possibly murdering his ex-wife. The policeman that found the glove, the guy that found that glove, he was said to have said many racial slurs in the past. He's also known to be part of police brutality. So, what John Cochrane did, what OJ's lawyer did, was he completely focused on that, saying, oh, that cop did all that. He's racist, so how can you believe what he says? And he completely turned around the facts, saying, yeah, he totally planted that glove when that wasn't the case. And the crazy part is, there was DNA evidence. The DNA proved that on the glove, that was OJ's blood. His blood was on the glove, and Nicole's hair was on his shirt, and Nicole's blood was in his socks. And on top of that, the shoe size that was found at the crime scene matches OJ. Now back then, DNA evidence was kind of new. They were still discovering it. But they mentioned in the trial that the chances of it being wrong, as in the chances of the DNA test being wrong, was 1 in 170 million. Despite these odds being mentioned in the court multiple times, the jury still thought, nah, he was set up. Bro, I don't even know. The jury was still not convinced. What the prosecution did next, I would say, was a bad move, but it served as an iconic moment in crime history. So they asked OJ to try on the gloves, and you should see this video if you haven't. He gets up and dramatically tries to make his hands look big, like you can see. On top of that, he wore like white latex gloves, and then when he was trying to put the gloves on, he was like struggling, and it was so dramatic. And then he lifted his hands and showed, and he was like, it doesn't fit. And because of this, a guilty man got to go free. And literally, everyone was chanting outside the courthouse, victory for Black America. And it's crazy because right after he got released, he literally said, I would have lost the case if it weren't for these expensive team of lawyers. And what happened was, a couple of years after the trial, a strange television interview came out. It wasn't released at the time of the trial because it was a very sensitive case and there would have been a lot of legal issues involved. But there was an interview, and OJ basically puts himself in the murderer's shoes. So how he hypothetically commits the crime in third person, and it was all exact. Like, he couldn't have been more exact. Like, certain details were mentioned that even weren't mentioned in the trial. And when you watch that video, you would think, what the heck? Why is this guy free? But sadly enough, only 10% of Americans believe that OJ is guilty, which is so sad. I definitely think he is guilty. There is no way he is not guilty, especially in the Netflix documentary. Like, obviously, you can't really rely on emotions, but you should see the look on his face. He has so much guilt, so much guilt. But that brings us to the end of this episode. If you stay till the end, thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye bye. See ya.